Welcome to this explainer. Look, we're going to uncover a pretty hard truth today. Paper contracts are drastically slowing the world down. I mean, from employment and sales to loans and insurance, our entire economy basically runs on promises made on paper. And those promises, they rely on a really clunky system of expensive lawyers, 30-day invoices, and massive amounts of manual trust. Today, we're going to look at how automated agreements can actually fix that, cutting your costs and saving you massive amounts of time. We've got a really structured roadmap for you today to help navigate this whole transition. We'll start with the vending machine upgrade, look at 7 real business solutions, dive into building without writing code, tackle what happens when code meets court, and finally, look at how to launch your very first pilot. All right, let's dive right into our first section, the vending machine upgrade. To totally strip away all the Web3 confusion and AI buzzwords, you really just need to look at this brilliant analogy from Nick Szabo. And get this, it's from all the way back in 1994, long before the modern blockchain hype. He absolutely nailed it. A smart contract is simply a vending machine. Think about it. You drop in $1.50, you press a button, and if the conditions are met, like the money's there and the Coke is actually in stock, the machine dispenses your drink. Boom. No cashier, no middleman, and definitely no lawsuit if things go wrong. The rules are just enforced entirely by the mechanics of the machine itself. So, what's the crucial takeaway here? Well, it's that smart contracts are really just automated escrow scripts. I know it's smart as in the name, but they aren't highly intelligent AI, and honestly, they aren't even legally binding documents by default. They're simply reliable, rule-based code living on a blockchain. They hold actual funds, like digital dollars, say USDC, and they just execute basic if-then logic. If X happens, pay Y. It's really that simple. And this comparison right here brilliantly illustrates the contrast. Look at the old world on the left. You do the work, you send an invoice, and the client, conveniently forgets about it for 30 days. You're left chasing them down, maybe even threatening small claims court. It's a massive headache. Now, the new world? Funds are pre-deposited. The second your work gets approved, the code pays you instantly, 24/7. No more chasing down invoices, ever. So how exactly does this build out into a complete tech stack? Honestly, you really only need 3 main ingredients. First up is the blockchain, which is basically just a shared, unalterable database. Second is the wallet. Think of that as your login to securely sign transactions. But pay really close attention to this third ingredient, the oracle. See, a smart contract on its own is entirely blind. It doesn't know what's happening outside in the world. An oracle, like the industry standard provider, Chainlink, acts as its tether to reality. It feeds the contract data. It tells it, hey, UPS delivered the package, or yes, it rained today in this zip code. So the contract knows exactly when it's supposed to execute. Okay, moving on to our second section, 7 real business solutions. Let's look at where this is actually working in the wild right now. These 7 use cases show the massive operational savings businesses are seeing today. We're talking about totally automating escrow, cutting out the traditional music labels for royalties, flawlessly tracing supply chains, auto-paying insurance claims the exact second disaster strikes, streaming payroll by the minute, doing transparent audits, and tokenizing service agreements. Across the board, we are literally seeing operators slash their costs by up to 99%. They're turning months of waiting into literal minutes. To put that into perspective, just look at Walmart's supply chain. In the old paper trail system, if, say, a mango got recalled, it took them an incredibly tedious 7 days to trace that one piece of fruit back to its farm of origin. 7 days. But by putting their pallets on a blockchain paired with IoT scans, Walmart dropped that traceability query down to 2 seconds. 2 seconds. That is the absolute power of automated, verified provenance. We see a super similar game changer in the music industry. In the traditional streaming model, a platform pays a label, maybe 18 months later, and the artist, they get a tiny fraction of a cent per stream. It's pretty wild. But with smart contracts and NFTs, that revenue split totally flips. Artists can keep up to 85% of their revenue. And the best part? They get it instantly in their wallet every single time a fan interacts with their work. It completely bypasses those archaic 18-month label delays. Next up, Section 3, building without writing code. Now, you might be looking at all this and thinking, okay, I need to go hire a developer for $200,000 a year, but you really don't. Instead of hiring custom developers, you can literally leverage the no-code stack. Platforms like ThirdWeb offer these amazing ready-made templates. And you can use OpenZeppelin, which is kind of like a LegalZoom for code, to get standardized, highly audited contract frameworks that the biggest players already use.
Combine those templates with Chainlink for your real-world data, and you can easily deploy safe, functional contracts for under $5,000 in setup and transaction fees.
However, there is a catch. You absolutely must be prepared for this number right here, $20,000. That is the average cost for a mandatory external security audit from specialized tech firms, folks like Trail of Bits or Open Zeppelin. And let me be super clear, this $20,000 cost, it is completely non-negotiable. Skipping an audit is a surefire way to destroy trust with your users. Why? Well, because 90% of catastrophic hacks, the ones you read about in the news where millions of dollars just vanish into thin air, they happen because businesses try to write their own custom code from scratch instead of just using audited standards. Using templates and getting them formally audited is exactly how you survive and thrive in this space.
All right, let's transition into Section 4, when code meets court.
We really need to confront the legal reality here. The idea that code is law is a total fallacy. It was a super popular mantra back in the early days of crypto, but it was definitively disproven in 2016 during a massive hack. Real judges exist, guys, and courts absolutely have the final say over code. If a hacker exploits a bug to drain your funds, a judge isn't just going to shrug and say, well, the code allowed it, so I guess it's legal. No way. So you've got to shift your mindset on this. Think of the smart contract strictly as the performance and execution engine of your deal. It's the automated vending machine, right? But the traditional PDF document that you sign, that remains the actual binding agreement of terms between humans. You absolutely need both of them working together to function safely in the business world. To actually protect your business and make this whole thing enforceable in court, you need a hybrid approach. Basically, you deploy a legal PDF wrapper signed via something like DocuSign, and that PDF clearly references the specific blockchain address of your smart contract code as an exhibit. You make sure both parties sign the PDF and the wallet transaction. You clearly define your legal jurisdiction, like Delaware law, for example, and you always include a robust arbitration clause, just in case things go sideways. Which brings us to our final section, launching your first pilot. When you sit down to actually pitch this internally, just show your CFO this exact breakdown for a supply chain escrow. It's incredible. You compare the old way, say a $200,000 bank escrow fee on a massive deal plus a 14-day float, against a totally negligible $50 gas fee and a 10-minute execution time using a smart contract. Even when you factor in a $15,000 setup and audit cost, you're generating this immense ROI in month one. The business case literally makes itself. Yet, despite all that, we have to address a pretty shocking reality. 90% of enterprise smart contract pilots fail. They literally never make it past the experimental phase. Why? Well, they fail because teams get distracted, they chase PR buzz instead of actual ROI, and they completely ignore the legal realities we just talked about. So, what's your strategy to win? It's simple. Start incredibly small with just one single process. Secure legal buy-in from your counsel right out of the gate. And crucially, this is a big one, hide the complex crypto stuff from your end users. Use simple email logins and stablecoins like USDC, so to them, it just feels like they're dealing with normal, everyday dollars. Before you go off and deploy your own pilot, I highly recommend running through the 10-question Business Smart Contract Canvas detailed in the source material. It's a great tool that forces you to verify your problem, check your oracles, and actually confirm your ROI. But I want to leave you with this final thought. Smart contracts aren't going to replace trust, but they will absolutely replace the endless waiting, the massive fees, and the whole "the check is in the mail" excuse. So ask yourself, are you ready to upgrade your agreements, or can you really afford to keep waiting on PDFs while your competitors automate you right out of the market?